Rapper Meek Mill is a Camp Hill State Prison inmate. What we know. Meek Mill is inmate ND 8400 at State Prison in Camp Hill, but how he ended up there is the source of much debate. His supporters see the man behind the musician, a 30-year-old suffering from an opiate addiction and being made an example of by a Philadelphia judge. He popped some wheelies on his dirt bike, traveled outside of Pennsylvania for shows and got into an altercation with a St. Louis airport employee who was taking his photo. That unfairly yielded 2 to 4 years in prison, according to more than 250,000 people who've signed a petition asking Pennsylvania Gov. Tom Wolfe for help. Dozens of celebrities have also expressed support for Mills and slammed the racial disparities in the criminal justice system. Common Pleas Court Judge Jance Brinkley is part of that system. She sees a man who has been in and out of her courtroom for a decade, defying her 10-year probation order. "I gave you break after break, and you basically just thumbed your nose at this court," she said during sentencing Monday. She sees the man known legally as Robert Trey McWilliam, who was on probation since a 2008 conviction for dealing drugs and gun possession. He's the Philly rapper with a national audience, who was arrested twice this year. March. He was charged with a misdemeanor for an altercation with a St. Louis airport employee who was trying to take his photo. August. He was charged with reckless driving while filming a music video and illegally riding his dirt bike in Manhattan. Charges were dropped in the first case and Mills took a dismissal deal in the second, according to the New York Times. Enamored Judge Brinkley is a focal point in the case, partially because critics disagree with her sentence and partially because Mills' attorney has made her one. One of Mills' attorneys, Joe DeCopina, told the New York Times that Brinkley has acted inappropriately during the case, including giving advice on who should be his manager. "The judge has also been vindictive," he said. DeCopina said Brinkley asked Mills to do a remake of Boyz II Men's On Bended Knee and mention her name, according to Philly.com. Mill laughed it off, the attorney told Philly.com, ultimately telling the judge, "I can't do that. It's not my music. I don't sing good stuff. And I don't do, like, shout-outs to people in my songs." Brinkley responded with, "Okay, suit yourself," DeCopina said. He told CNN Brinkley's behavior was a little stalkerish, claiming last year she showed up at Mills' community service for the homeless and watched him do community service. The judge hasn't responded to the allegations. The Philadelphia court system spokesman, Gabriel Roberts, on Wednesday issued a short statement. "Because this matter is subject to future litigation, there will be no comment at this time." DeCopina said on CNN he will appeal the sentence issued by Brinkley, who has exhibited enormous bias and is enamored with Mill and takes a personal interest in the case. "I'm asking for mercy." The New York City lawyer describes his client as frustrated. "He's being treated different than anyone else," DeCopina said on CNN Thursday. "If his name was John Smith, he wouldn't be in jail and he certainly wouldn't be on probation. He's been on probation for nearly 10 years. Nobody goes on probation for 10 years. Mill initially had a 5-year probation. Brinkley extended it after additional violations. The rapper was previously sent to prison in July 2014 for parole violations related to performing out of state without permission. Brinkley ordered Mill to take etiquette classes. Mill told Billboard magazine he spent most of that prison stay in solitary confinement. He spoke briefly in court this week before sentencing. "I'm human. I'm not perfect," Mill said, according to a report from Philly.com. "I'm asking for mercy. You gave me the ladder to do what I have to do to prevail in my struggle. I made it this far. I can't really go back and start over." That's when Brinkley said, "I gave you break after break, and you basically just thumbed your nose at this court." Brinkley issued the 2 to 4 year sentence, going against the recommendation of the prosecution. Both the district attorney and Mills' probation officer recommended no incarceration. Seeking help from Gov. Wolfe. Celebrities and supporters on Monday joined a chorus of people admonishing Brinkley for her sentence. The sentence handed down by the judge, against the recommendation of the assistant district attorney and probation officer, is unjust and heavy-handed, rapper Jay-Z posted on Facebook Monday. "We will always stand by and support Meek Mill, both as he attempts to right this wrongful sentence and then in returning to his musical career." Comedian and actor Kevin Hart shared this, "Praying for my brother at Meek Mill right now. God sometimes puts the toughest battles on his strongest soldiers. I'm here for you, man. My brother for life. Always here for you, man. This storm will pass. Stay strong and keep your head up." A petition for Mill's release started almost immediately. It's called Somebody Save Meek Mill and it had more than 257,000 signatures as of early Saturday morning. The thousands of signers are asking Gov. Tom Wolfe, Lieutenant Gov. Mike Stack and the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons for help. The petition says, "We humbly ask for the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons to grant relief in his sentence and call on Governor Tom Wolfe to closely look into this matter and address why Meek, and thousands of other young, black men throughout the state are unnecessarily incarcerated for minor parole and probation violations." What did he do? This is how Mill ended up with a 10-year probation. In 2008, when he was 18, he illegally carried a gun to a corner store. He was convicted on gun and drug charges, getting sentenced to 8 months in prison and 5 years probation. Mill's career took off during the next 6 years, and in 2014 he violated probation by performing outside Pennsylvania. He was sent to prison for 5 months, and told Billboard he spent most of that time in solitary confinement. When he was released in December 2014 and Brinkley continued with probation. Last year, Mill served 90 days of house arrest for violating his parole by traveling to New York for a benefit concert and to be with former girlfriend Nicki Minaj. Prosecutors also accused him of avoiding a drug test. Mill said during the sentencing this week he has battled an addiction to Percocet, an opiate painkiller. "I may have made a mistake, but I never had the intention of disrespecting you," he said to the judge. On Wednesday, he started his third prison sentence. SCI Camp Hill. Mill reported to state prison in Camp Hill on November 9. He will have a series of evaluations and diagnostic tests there before being assigned to a prison, according to Department of Corrections spokeswoman Susan McNaughton. Once he's assigned to a prison, which could be Camp Hill, Mill will serve at least 2 years until he becomes eligible for parole.